Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
An American country dance which starts with the couples facing each other in two lines. Revolve quickly and repeatedly around one's own axis. A lively dance of Scottish Highlanders, marked by circular moves and gliding steps. Walk as if unable to control one's movements. A winder around which thread or tape or film or other flexible materials can be wound. A roll of photographic film holding a series of frames to be projected by a movie projector. Music composed for dancing a reel. Winder consisting of a revolving spool with a handle, attached to a fishing rod. Wind onto or off a reel. An American country dance which starts with the couples facing each other in two lines. Revolve quickly and repeatedly around one's own axis. To wind or move in a spiral course. The young people gyrated on the dance floor. Cuz to spin. Spin a coin. Prolong or extend. Spin out a visit. Rapid descent of an aircraft in a steep spiral. Revolve quickly and repeatedly around one's own axis. The act of rotating rapidly. He gave the crank a spin. A distinctive interpretation, especially as used by politicians to sway public opinion. The campaign put a favorable spin on the story. A short drive in a car. He took the new car for a spin. A swift whirling motion, usually of a missile. Form a web by making a thread. Spiders spin a fine web. Make up a story. Spin a yarn. Stream in jets, of liquids. Twist and turn so as to give an intended interpretation. The president's spokesman had to spin the story to make it less embarrassing. Work natural fibers into a thread. Spin silk. Revolve quickly and repeatedly around one's own axis. Cuz to spin. Flow in a circular current, of liquids. Turn in a twisting or spinning motion. The shape of something rotating rapidly. A usually brief attempt. I gave it a whirl. Revolve quickly and repeatedly around one's own axis. The dervishes whirl around and around without getting dizzy. Fly around. Rising smoke whirled in the air. Confused movement. He was caught up in a whirl of work. The act of rotating rapidly. A lively dance of Scottish Highlanders, marked by circular moves and gliding steps. Move sideways or in an unsteady way. The ship careened out of control. Pitching dangerously to one side. Walk as if unable to control one's movements. Walk as if unable to control one's movements. A projection or ridge that suggests a keel. One of the main longitudinal beams, or plates, of the hull of a vessel, can extend vertically into the water to provide lateral stability. The median ridge on the breastbone of birds that fly. Loiter about, with no apparent aim. Abrupt up and down motion, as caused by a ship or other conveyance. An unsteady, uneven gait. Move abruptly. The ship suddenly lurched to the left. The act of moving forward suddenly. Defeat by a lurch. Walk as if unable to control one's movements. A decisive defeat in a game, especially in cribbage. Move slowly and unsteadily. The truck lurched down the road. An unsteady, uneven gait. To arrange in a systematic order. Stagger the chairs in the lecture hall. Walk with great difficulty. He staggered along in the heavy snow. Walk as if unable to control one's movements. The drunken man staggered into the room. Astound or overwhelm, as with shock. She was staggered with bills after she tried to rebuild her house following the earthquake. Goods or money obtained illegally. Droop, sink, or settle from or as if from pressure or loss of tautness. Walk as if unable to control one's movements. A bundle containing the personal belongings of a swagman. Sway heavily or unsteadily. Valuable goods. A winder around which thread or tape or film or other flexible materials can be wound. A winder around which thread or tape or film or other flexible materials can be wound. Transfer data intended for a peripheral device, usually a printer, into temporary storage. Wind onto a spool or a reel. In the direction of the length. Country dancing performed with couples in two long lines facing each other. Country dancing performed with couples in two long lines facing each other. Turn on or around an axis or a center. Avoid something unpleasant or laborious. Become widely known and passed on. Go around the flank of an opposing army. Be sufficient. There's not enough to go around. Turn on or around an axis or a center. The lamb roast rotates on a spit over the fire. Cause to turn on an axis or center. Turn outward. Ballet dancers can rotate their legs out by 90 degrees. Exchange on a regular basis. We rotate the lead soprano every night. Perform a job or duty on a rotating basis. Interns have to rotate for a few months. Plant or grow in a fixed cyclic order of succession. We rotate the crops so as to maximize the use of the soil. Cause to move by turning over or in a circular manner of as if on an axis. Turn on or around an axis or a center. The Earth revolves around the Sun. Move in an orbit. American country dancing in which couples form squares. American country dancing in which couples form squares. Dance in formation. The act of traveling by foot. Walking is a healthy form of exercise. Careers in general. It happens in all walks of life. Take a walk. Go for a walk. Walk for pleasure. The lovers held hands while walking. Manner of walking. He had a funny walk. Baseball. An advance to first base by a batter who receives 4 balls. A path set aside for walking. After the blizzard, he shoveled the front walk. Accompany or escort. I'll walk you to your car. A slow gait of a horse in which 2 feet are always on the ground. Be or act in association with. We must walk with our dispossessed brothers and sisters. Give a base on balls to. Live or behave in a specified manner. Walk in sadness. Make walk. He walks the horse up the mountain. Obtain a base on balls. The act of walking somewhere. He took a walk after lunch. Traverse or cover by walking. Paul walked the streets of Damascus. Use one's feet to advance. Advance by steps. We walked instead of driving. Walk at a pace. The horses walked across the meadow. Mechanical device used to wind another device that is driven by a spring, as a clock. A worker who winds, e.g., a winch or clock or other mechanism. Mechanical device around which something can be wound. Make a film or photograph of something. A form of entertainment that enacts a story by sound and a sequence of images giving the illusion of continuous movement. The film was shot on location. A thin sheet of, usually plastic and usually transparent, material used to wrap or cover things. Photographic material consisting of a base of celluloid covered with a photographic emulsion, used to make negatives or transparencies. A medium that disseminates moving pictures. Film coverage of sporting events. A thin coating or layer. The table was covered with a film of dust. Record in film. The coronation was filmed. Photographic material consisting of a base of celluloid covered with a photographic emulsion, used to make negatives or transparencies. A genre of popular music composed for ballroom dancing. Music to dance to. Arrange or fold as a cover or protection. Wrap the baby before taking her out. Arrange or coil around. She wrapped her arms around the child. The covering, usually paper or cellophane, in which something is wrapped. Enclose or enfold completely with or as if with a covering. Cloak that is folded or wrapped around a person. A sandwich in which the filling is rolled up in a soft tortilla. Crash into so as to coil around. The teenager wrapped his car around the fire hydrant. A list of names. His name was struck off the rolls. Move along on or as if on wheels or a wheeled vehicle. The president's convoy rolled past the crowds. Cause to move by turning over or in a circular manner of as if on an axis. She rolled the ball. Move by turning over or rotating. The child rolled down the hill. A deep prolonged sound, as of thunder or large bells. Small rounded bread either plain or sweet. Show certain properties when being rolled. The carpet rolls unevenly. A roll of currency notes, often taken as the resources of a person or business, etc. He shot his roll on a bob-tailed nag. A long heavy sea wave as it advances towards the shore. Flatten or spread with a roller. Roll out the paper. The sound of a drum, especially a snare drum, beaten rapidly and continuously. Arrange or coil around. Roll your hair around your finger. The act of throwing dice. Move about aimlessly or without any destination, often in search of food or employment. They rolled from town to town. Sell something to or obtain something from by energetic and especially underhanded activity. Boil vigorously. The water rolled. A round shape formed by a series of concentric circles, as formed by leaves or flower petals. The act of rolling something, as the ball in bowling. Move in a wavy pattern or with a rising and falling motion. The waves rolled towards the beach. A document that can be rolled up, as for storage. Rotary motion of an object around its own axis. Occur in soft rounded shapes. The hills rolled past. A flight maneuver. Aircraft rotates about its longitudinal axis without changing direction or losing altitude. Anything rolled up in cylindrical form. Begin operating or running. The cameras were rolling. Emit, produce, or utter with a deep prolonged reverberating sound. The thunder rolled. Execute a roll, in tumbling. The gymnasts rolled and jumped. Move, rock, or sway from side to side. The ship rolled on the heavy seas. Photographic film rolled up inside a container to protect it from light. Pronounce with a roll, of the phoneme, r. She rolls her r's. Shape by rolling. Roll a cigarette. Take the shape of a roll or cylinder. The carpet rolled out. Walking with a swaying gait. Spin, wind, or twist together. Intertwine the ribbons. Form into a spiral shape. Arrange or coil around. A lightweight cord. Make by twisting together or intertwining. Twine a rope. Raise or haul up with or as if with mechanical help. Catch the scent of. Get wind of. A reflex that expels intestinal gas through the anus. Form into a wreath. Empty rhetoric or insincere or exaggerated talk. That's a lot of wind. Arrange or coil around. To move or cause to move in a sinuous, spiral, or circular course. The river winds through the hills. Extend in curves and turns. The road winds around the lake. The act of winding or twisting. He put the key in the old clock and gave it a good wind. A musical instrument in which the sound is produced by an enclosed column of air that is moved by bellows or the human breath. Air moving, sometimes with considerable force, from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. Trees bent under the fierce winds. Coil the spring of some mechanical device by turning a stem. Wind your watch. An indication of potential opportunity. A tendency or force that influences events. The winds of change. Breath. The collision knocked the wind out of him. A large, rotating machine with seats for children to ride or amusement. A conical child's plaything tapering to a steel point on which it can be made to spin. Whirl or spin like a whirligig.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.